Welcome to the Let's Eat Grandma LeaderCast. Become the best version of yourself as a leader at Let's Eat Grandma. This episode is for leaders in our company where we uncover the vision, strategy that will bring Let's Eat Grandma to the top of the industry. I am going to talk about an episode that is very near and dear to me. And first of all, before we get into it, I want to just thank you for all of your feedback on episode 1. That was a really fun one to do, but the things I heard from you are be shorter, more direct, and incorporate video. So alas, here we are today. I'm bringing on AJ Alagonero to edit this video here, and I'm gonna give a message that's a little bit more conceptual in nature. So we're stripping the logistics and letting Matt take care of that during IA meetings and things like that. But this episode I really wanna use to supplement the IA meetings that we have at the end of the month. So that way there's a little bit more support and there's a little bit more flexibility and production that goes into that as well. So mo money, mo problems. Let's talk about the theme here. So the concept I really want to hit home today is more often than not, the solution lies not by throwing more money at something, but at coming up with different creative solutions. Your frontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that's responsible for this level of creativity, this part of our brain in all of us is something that is such a gift and something that I ask all of us to tap into today. So I ask you today, how can you use your creativity to unlock a simple solution for your department? Here's the lie. I'm going to go over the lie that I've told myself for years on end, and the lie I have to remind myself that it's not true. And for so much of my life and for running this business, I've had the mentality that if I want to grow something, if I want to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, then the best thing to do is to put more time and money into it. Always told myself this. To an extent, it's worked. But if I do it for too long, then it ends up being a huge failure. This is the lie. The mentality that has costed me financial stability in the past. It's caused me stress, and it's caused me to actually fail at solving the problem in the first place. You can't substitute a good operation with capital expenditures. And as one of the greatest rappers of all time put it, mo money, mo problems. For years, I told myself the great lie that if my business could just reach $100,000, this is no joke, literally wrote this on a whiteboard. If my business could reach $100,000 a month, then all of my problems would just go away. I'd have people to help run my business. I'd have made it. All of my stress will have been melted away. I cannot even tell you how the opposite has come to fruition. The opposite is true with getting more money, it seems like. Our taxes are higher than ever. Matt still gets letters from all the different states letting them know if we are or we're not in compliance and what we need to do. And it's more responsibility on our shoulders. Granted, I'd have it no other way because this is the original vision of what we wanted, but the point I'm trying to illustrate is how wrong I was about having more money being something that would just take care of things. In fact, it's created more complications. So don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for money. Money is great. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna beat around and say, oh my gosh, let's run away from money. That's not what I'm saying. Money helps move things forward and is one of the best levers in the world to get things done sometimes. But it's not the only lever, and it really shouldn't be. So let's go over some examples. Let's go over stories and illustrations of where I want our company to go. In our last IA meeting, I gave a talk about our expenses being too high. But how do you actually solve that problem when your company is trying to grow to 50 million? Here are some examples of this in action to show you exactly what I mean. And first, I'll read a passage from Profit First, which is, I'll be honest, this book was really inspirational in my message, and I really look up to the author, Mike Michalowicz, but I'll read a passage that really stuck out to me, and I hope it does the same for you. A businessman explained that his company delivered oil to 2 primary outlets. This is a true story. Businesses that stored hundreds of gallons at a time, like Jiffy Lube, and retail stores that put quart containers on the shelves, like Walmart. They delivered the oil using 2 types of trucks, a tanker to deliver to the Jiffy Lubes of the world and a shelf truck to deliver to Walmart. Nearly every aspect of their business was duplicated. 2 trucks, 2 drivers, 2 customer success teams, 2 of everything. The costs were too high. We were barely surviving, the businessman said. Mr. Innovator knew he had to cut costs in order to achieve his profitability goals. Remember, we talked about profitability being the key thing for our sustainability as a company. So he challenged himself to cut his costs by at least 1/3 while still servicing the same number of customers. He kept asking himself the bigger, better question: how can we keep doing what we're doing for 1/3 of the cost? Then one day it hit him. What if we took a box truck and divided it in half? He recounted. One side for the tank and the other side for the shelves. Now his company could deliver oil to both the Jiffy Lubes and the Walmarts of the world using one type of truck, operated by one driver. Mr. Innovator put the idea in motion and ended up surpassing his goal, cutting expenses nearly in half. This simple shift enabled him to grow his struggling business to a $50 million company with a sweet bottom line. That jumped out at me, obviously. Money is everywhere. Money can always be found through streamlining and innovation, and that begins with asking the big questions, the impossible questions, the questions no one else would dare to ask. No one else but you. I love this story, and I'll also talk about UPS, which is something that I'm sure all of us are very familiar with here. But in UPS, in 2006, dared to ask the question, how could they save on fuel costs? So in 2006, UPS made the move to only take left turns. I think most of them are left turns, like some 90% of the turns that the UPS trucks make are left turns. This would end up saving on fuel costs $6 million a year, to be precise, just by one operational change they made to their company. They didn't stop there. They found out that the truck drivers would take a significant amount of time fumbling and looking around for their keys in their pockets. It sounds like not a big deal, but if you add up the amount of times that you have to go in and transact, then this ends up being a lot of time. And so they ended up taking the keys out of the pockets of the UPS drivers and attached it to the pinkies of the UPS drivers. Sounds crazy, but this small tweak ended up saving the company a lot of money as well. They didn't stop there. UPS decided that they didn't need to wash their trucks every single day. After that, they decided that they only needed to wash their trucks every other day. And they still got the job done, and they've been able to save millions of dollars that way. So what is your UPS moment that you're going to make in the future for our company? What one thing, I'm not just looking at money, obviously we're focused on that for this episode, but what thing is wasting time that is actually a big deal? And it might be hidden. It might be something that probably is hidden because you're not thinking about it right now. But what is that one thing so you can have your UPS moment? Here are some examples of ways I've seen this done creatively in our organization so far. And I want to just commend you all. You all are getting there right now. You all are starting to act upon these things and think more big picture. And I love this. I wanted to take some time to recognize that and to further encourage you to keep doing that for the company, like even more. Daniel, you've lost plugins or not been able to use plugins for whatever reason. And instead of replacing them, I've seen you ask and figure out ways to not replace them and still hit your KPIs. I've seen you lose actual people who were helping you, people you've delegated to do work within your department, and you've still found a way to end up moving forward and hit your KPIs and do a bigger job, bigger, better job than you've done before in the past. I think you know the examples I'm alluding to right now, but I'm really impressed by it. John, when you heard that we couldn't yet afford to pay our riders more, something that you're very passionate about, something I'm also passionate about, you decided you were going to be open-minded enough to stimulate a great conversation between us, me, you, and Matt. As a result, this ended up getting riders an indirect raise coming up in the future in Q3 with the new main packages, and still not cutting our margins. We're still catching up on PT, and I also think that these changes are also going to help with PT as well. Operational creativity there. Thank you for that. Matt, how did you respond in 2018 when I told you you were going to get a 90% pay cut to start your own business, but at the best when we could actually pay you? This is back in the day when things were crazy and where there was almost no certainty in our growing business. You not only helped me to 20x our revenue, but your salary is higher than before. And I think we're both happier. Creativity right there. Carly, how did you react when I told you that you were not only going to take on your job, but the one of the superior who left Let's Eat Grandma before you? You cut out all the unnecessary things, pushed forward, and now I think our customer success department is positioned for better success than ever. Alex, I'm sorry, I wish I can come up with an example like the ones I've just mentioned before, but I think as we continue to work together, we'll easily find something. So all of us already have the mindset, and all of us are starting to do these things already. And I ask you, continue leaning into these things, because these are the things that are going to help our business become successful and to help all of us to become even better positioned within the company. So driving it home, cue the music, AJ. Lessons and things to turn away. Don't overcomplicate things. Just simplify. Ask yourself, what can you cut out today? What is inefficient within your department? The metric we are obviously trying to accomplish here is cutting our operating expenses down to where they're closer to about 50%. I know we want that A score, but the real thing I want to accomplish here is to ask you all, how can you get creative with processes so you don't need to throw money at something? How can you do more with less? You aren't alone here. I am personally with you, and I will work one-on-one with every single one of you to help you to brainstorm these creative solutions. And together, I know we're going to create some magic here. So call to action to end this episode. Think about and come up with one thing that you think is an inefficient process here at Let's Eat Grandma. Let me know what you think that thing is, and we'll continue to kick butt and take names here. This concludes our second leadersode here at Let's Eat Grandma. Thanks so much for tuning in. I can't wait to continue working with you guys and getting it done. So, more money, more problem. What can you use is having you all ask yourself. Okay, sorry. Pull it open.